There we go. I thought I'd throw a little bit of top water. I haven't caught a Garrick on top water for ages. So I've come into the flats. This little area upriver here on the Gamtoos is often where we get the skipjack later in this year. And I'm probably 2 casts in, and one of the usual suspects has come in and grabbed my little top water here. Hey man, such a little blast catching these Garrick. This is exactly what I felt like. A little bit of retail therapy, or fishing therapy as we should say. And look at that, little sure strike bone white. Brought this little Garrick, tiny little Garrick, up to the surface, and he schnossed this lure. I'm also throwing it here because I often see grunter. It's only 1.6 meters deep here, which is a little bit deep for your standard grunter fishing. But guys, here's that little tool again. I've got them in the shop. All you Artlure fishermen, this little Garrick would have been hurt badly if I tried to get these hooks out by hand. Look at that. It actually makes fishing a treble beautiful. No damage to the fish whatsoever. Tiny little mouth. No damage whatsoever. Whoops. Let's get this guy back in. A bit of a hula hoop. Guys, come and grab them in the shop. This one has lasted me probably about 4 or 5 years on the boat. It's now starting to rust, but I've got brand new ones in the shop. The ultimate tool for taking out treble hooks in our kind of estuary lure fishing. And bucktails, paddle tails, you name it. Well, this is what I was hoping for. Come out this morning, I've gone up to the nursery on Gamtoos. It's such a beautiful morning. I've just done a few more boat alterations. Got my fish finder on, and I thought I'd come up into the nursery and see if there's a couple of Garrick around. I'm only a few shots in. Let's hope there's going to be a lot more of these guys today. I see this guy's foul hooked, and that's why it's putting a bit of a stink. Bucktail doing the job again. HMP 15-pound braid. Trophy tails bucktail. This one gaffed him. He had 2 goes at it before he foul hooked himself. A typical juvenile Gamtoos Garrick on the bucktail, but still loads of fun. Let's get this guy back in the water and see if there's a few more around. I'm hoping, it's a bit early, but I'm hoping there might be a few skipjack in the river already. All the seasons are a bit weird at the moment, so they normally come through late October, November, coming into December, sometimes as far as January. Look at that beautiful little guy. He's going to grow up and become one of those nice big thumpers. Let's get him back in the water. But yeah, hoping for a there we go, smell more strong. Hoping for a couple of Garrick, just to they've been absent recently. I've been fishing quite a bit downriver, getting some nice cob, but Garrick have been scarce up downriver, down by the mouth. So I've come up here. Who knows, there might be a few nice cobbies still up here. I know in the Gam1000 they got them right up as far as the bus. So I'll definitely make a turn past there as the tide starts pushing out a bit more. It's just turned now, and I was hoping to do a nice gentle drift down through the nursery here. Obviously the wind has picked up, so that's going to be a bit of a pain in my butt, but I'll fish on. If I don't drift nicely, I'll just move every sort of half hour or so into the next casting stretch. And rocking the bucktail, I've also got a little shiver stick, and then a small plastic mad catch 3-inch minnow, which I wonder if I find a couple of shoals of Garrick, I'll climb in with those. At the moment I'm doing a calling all stations, hoping for that skippy, that early season skippy. That might be a bit ambitious, but definitely a few Garrick, maybe a cob. Quite weird, I didn't get any flatheads up here this winter. I think that's got something to do with a bit of fresh water that we've been getting now. It's not as salty up here as it was during the drought years. Let's see what happens. Oh, there's the second fish. Doesn't seem like a very big one though. Ah, look at that, little cobby. Little cobby. Let's get him on board. This is why I call this area the nursery, because you get lots of these little fellas. And how's that for a bit of pretty? Nice and early in the morning. Nice early cobby. I can feel his heart beating in my hand. This is about 4 or 5 casts after that little grunter. At least that little Garrick. Nice little cobby. Look at that bucktail. Nicely down the hatch. Again, guys, look at the beauty of this fish. It's always good to release these little guys. Yeah, they're well undersized. Treat them with care. Release them, because that little thing becomes a 50-kilogram monster. Just look at the beauty. Right, let's get him back in the water. See if there's another one, a slightly bigger one. Oh! And he gave me a spray on the way up. I'm going to plonk it in there again. That fish came far too easy. Maybe there's another one living next to that tree there. If I can plonk it right up close to that tree. Ah, bottom. There we go. Simple as that, guys. I had a feeling there might be another one next to that tree. I think this might be a Garrick. Let's have a look, see. Wowza, wowza, wowza. There's a fish busy slapping into him here. Ha! Oh! Look at that. I just had a cob chasing that little Garrick I hooked. My goodness, I could see it flash, and I don't know if he got it, but he pulled it straight off the bucktail. My word. I've often caught little Garrick here with teeth marks. It wasn't a big cob, it's probably about a 3 or 4 kilogram cob there, even if that big. But I saw him flash there first, then he flashed here, and when it got over here, he actually hit that little Garrick so hard, he pulled the hook out of his mouth. Well, I never. I must have caught 5 or 6 cob already. Garrick. With little puncture holes in the skin, which is a typical sign of a cob. Let's see if we can find another one there. Oh wow, yes, that was stunning. That was absolutely stunning. I'm being pinched here, the tide has turned, it's starting to flow. I'm just watching all the debris drift past here. It has turned. Normally I'd be travelling down river now at a good sort of slow walking pace. Unfortunately we've got a bit of a wind coming through here, which is pinching me right here. Not a bad choice. I've banged 2 little fish, well, 1.5 fish out from under that tree. Cob, a Garrick, another little Garrick, and then I had a cob eat my Garrick off the line. Maybe I must get pinched more often. Let's put a shiver stick in there and see what happens. This was a little 3/8 bucktail, and those that watch my channel know that I fish a couple of rods on the boat. And the reason I do that, I've just switched to another outfit, is that I found most of the wind knots or bunches, it's not really a wind knot that I get. Let's just get this in. Is when I'm actually switching lures on a rod, going from a very light lure and working the lure, and then obviously what happens is the line coils quite lightly onto the spool. And then you clip out that lure and you clip on a slightly heavier one, and of course when you make the first cast, because it was under loose tension, which is now much heavier than what that lure is, it actually grabs a coil from underneath, and because they're all loose, pulls it out, and you get technically a wind knot. So I've learned over the years I throw very few wind knots, and I'm not trying to be like a bass fisherman, but I bring 3 or 4 rods with me. I primarily fish a bucktail, a shiver stick, and a plastic. And now and again I'll bring out the light stick just to throw a top water. You'll see I have 4 rods with me today. I've got one 2-ounce, which is my tiger tamer, which I'll probably go and play in Cobb Hold down by the bus when the tide's fully on its way out. And I've got 2 of these Akuma Raws. They're both 1-ounce rods. This is the 2-piece one, which is actually a little bit stiffer, not as crisp as the 1-piece one. I've got 2 of these guys, and then I've got one of my old firm favorites. I've got the old Tactical Spin, also from Sensation, the Akuma Tactical Spin, and I've been banging that rod for 7 or 8, maybe even 10 years now, and it's still one of my favorite rods to go to. And I brought that along. It's a 1/2-ounce one, and I was just going to see if there are any tails from grunters when I came around the corners here, but still very quiet for those guys up here. So that's what I was going to do the top water on, but at the moment I've got one of the new Mad Catch little 3-inch minnows with a little 10-gram 1/4 head. I'll probably throw that, as I said, if I find a nice shoal or feeding Garrick, then I will use that. But yeah, I found that keeping a lure on a rod, especially when you're switching from light to heavy lures, and when I say light to heavy, a 3/8 to a 1/2 ounce, a 3/8 to a 3/4 ounce, it just means you're going to throw far less of these clumping wind knots. It still happens, but nowhere near as many as I used to throw. Ah, and there we go. Another little Garrick, I think. Drifting quite nicely now. Oh, it's a nice cobby. Nice little cobby. On the bucktail, I love it. I think I might need the net for this guy. Nice little cobby. Let's see. Typical nursery size, a little bit bigger than the normal cobs I get here. On the bucktail. On the bucktail. Hey, it might even be a size cob. Nah, just under. Oh, I love these guys. Let's put this net down. He smacked me right next to the boat. I had a little tug. Oh, he swallowed that bucktail straight down. I had a little bump a bit earlier, and then I felt a little tap on the line, and he swallowed me right here, right next to the boat. I gave it a little bit of slack line. I was expecting a Garrick. Look at that little cobby. Hey man, I can see the bucktail, so it's not too bad. Let's get this guy. Let's get this guy. I might need my little tool to take out that hook. Oh guys, good tip whenever you're handling a fish, especially on a small boat like this. It's always good to open your bail arm when you put the rod down. The fish can flip out of your hands, many things can happen, and I've seen rod tips, rods and reels themselves go overboard. When you open the bail arm, when you put a rod down, you know you're not going to break a tip, lose a rod and reel, or possibly damage the fish anymore. Right, let's have a look at this guy. It's actually a nice little cobby for upriver here. When I came up this morning, there was 1 or 2 chases which I saw from Garrick. And I thought to myself, if anything else, I'll get a couple of Garrick up here. But so far, I'm 3 Garrick. I've got another one I didn't put on film now. 2 cob, and the other one was about the size of this one's tail. But let's get him out and let's have a look see. Oh, he's still nice and strong. Alright, come here, fella. Alright. Look at that. Might just make size. I don't have a tape measure on this boat. But it might just make size. Look at that for a nice cobby. Don't you jump now, eh? Oops, let's move a bit of this vegetation up the way. There we go, guys. On the Trophy Tails bucktail, he'll probably be about a good 50-55 centimeter. Schnoff that bucktail right down the gullet. Smacked me right next to the boat. What an awesome experience. And this is about the same size that grabbed my little Garrick just now off the line, believe it or not. A cob about this size, maybe a little bit bigger, that came and grabbed one of my little bucktails, one of my little Garrick right next to the boat. Right guys, I've said it 100 times. These little tools, let me just get rid of the bucktail. These little tools, this one's seriously rusted now. Fantastic. You don't have to stick your fingers in there. It's the ideal little weapon for a lure fisherman. Alright guys, there it is. Just taking a quick photograph of him. Nice cobby for the nursery. Let's get him back in the water. See if there's a few more around, man. The water is quite, oh, I was going to say, the water is quite warm up here. I wasn't expecting a great release, but he shot away, man. The water now, 22 degrees up here. 22 degrees is getting warm. But there you go. Right, let's get a line in the water and see if there's not another cob waiting for us. Stop recording.